Well, good afternoon. It's 5 after 3, and this is kind of an odd time for me to start vlogging. I think I said that in one of my last videos too, because typically if I'm going to start vlogging for a day, I start right away in the morning, but today I did not. The TV's a little bit loud. It's just Joe and I home today, so he's having a great time watching the Tim Hawkins DVDs at full volume. Playing a little air guitar, right? He has, since his last birthday, he has ripped all of the guitar strings off, right? A little air guitar today.
Hey, I'm that.
Yeah. He loves imitating Tim Hawkins. So Tim, I'm sure you're not watching, but just in case you are, make sure that you're doing things that I would want my child to do, okay? Alrighty. So here is what I have going today. Here's what it looks like. You guys guess what's going on? We've got seeds, measurements, more packets of seeds, graph paper, more packets of seeds. Okay, a ruler. So what I've got going on here is the weed guard fabric is down. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing this year to try to eliminate the bulk of the weeds, because if you have watched my last couple summers of videos, you know that I've done so many different things to try to get rid of weeds. Tilling, pulling, what else have I done? Last year I did straw on the whole entire garden, really thick, and it was not a week and the weeds were already popping up. So anyway, I'm so excited. I went out there, measured everything out today, and then drew it up on graph paper. This over here is where my rhubarb is, and then yeah, so I just have it all laid out on paper here. Hopefully this is going to work. I have a little patch of corn here, my carrots and beans and beans and beans and beans and tomatoes, peppers, both sweet and hot peppers, broccoli, and some more peppers in that row, onions, cucumbers, dill and sunflowers, and zucchini and cantaloupe. Okay, it is just too loud in there, so we're gonna go outside here. Although it's so windy outside today too. So hopefully, although a little like rain cloud blew through before, so maybe now it's a little less windy. No, I don't think so. Okay, I feel like I'm really rambling today. I wanted to pick up the camera because what I really wanted to show you is my garden and what is kind of going down with that. I've had so many questions about that. I have been hardening off my plants here. I pulled a bunch here that nothing grew in. I have the weirdest thing that happened with, these are Connecticut field pumpkins. These were in the house just like everything else, underneath the little domes, the condensation, the warmth, just all of it, and absolutely nothing germinated. And then I didn't want to throw it away because I just wasn't ready to give up on them yet. And they've been outside for probably 3-ish days now. No, this I think is the 4th day now that I've had the plants all outside, and one little pumpkin has germinated, and I see a crack over here, so I'm kind of wondering if I'm actually going to get some of those pumpkins. So everything is doing pretty well out here, pretty well. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know why. Warren thinks this could be sun scald, but a lot of my plants, since I brought them outside, look at my peppers, they're getting like this white, and I don't know if that's just, I don't know, I need to look that up this afternoon. That was on my list to do and I just haven't done it yet. So yeah, lots of leaves are falling off. Wish me luck. So by the time this video airs, there's the wind. Every time I come outside, I'm going to stay really close to the house and maybe we won't get it so bad. But feel free to still head on over to the community tab, share your comments with me when it comes to hardening off plants. I've never had great luck at that. I did just see an Anna White plan for a little greenhouse, which looked so cute and like practical as well. So I was going to show that to Warren and see what he thought, if that would be something that maybe we could build for next year. But this is the garden so far with all of the weed guard fabric down. This weed guard we purchased from Fleet Farm, and I can't remember how many feet came in the roll, but anyway, we needed 3 rolls to cover our garden. And we do need to get some more stakes. This is kind of funny. So if you end up using something like this weed guard fabric at some point for your garden, here's the thing. Warren bought 100 of these plastic stakes when he first bought the 2 rolls of weed guard fabric. We didn't do any measuring beforehand, he just happened to be at the store and bought it. So we bought 100 of those. Then when we started laying the fabric down this last Sunday, we ran out of the little stakes. And then we also knew that we were going to need another roll of fabric. So then he happened to be at Fleet Farm again. He picked up 100 more stakes and another roll of the weed guard fabric. And we put down all of those. We used all 100 stakes. We realized that we still needed 25 more stakes, counting up, where I thought I still wanted stakes. And so then I went to a little local hardware store. They only had these metal ones. Let me see if I can show you where one of those is. The hardware store only had these metal, kind of like staple stakes. And you could buy those in bulk, so they were 17 cents a piece. And so I bought 50, thinking, well, that was twice as many as I thought I was going to need. Guess what? Warren is at Ace Hardware right now buying more stakes, and he thought he was going to buy 100 or 200, as many as he possibly could find. So we have definitely invested some money into stakes. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to reuse those when, for next year's garden. We just don't even know how this is gonna work. But with today's wind, we did put some pieces of wood on here just to try to hold it down where I still feel like I need more stakes. So now that I did work out everything on paper for the garden, which I can't say that I've done that maybe one other time, but typically I'm just dealing with, fresh black dirt. And I know how to garden in fresh black dirt. I don't know how to garden in overtop or in weed guard fabric. So it has been a lot, for me anyway, to try to wrap my head around. I'm doing it. And I am very, very excited about it too. Sorry for the lighting here. I know it's kind of like shady but sunny and everything. So the next step for me with the garden is, I know Warren had told me that he put something, I don't even remember what he said anymore, something on the little handheld torch, because we believe we need to torch little holes where each of the plants are going to go. You can cut that. Ooh, honeybee just landed on the camera screen. I do know that you can cut that, but it might have a tendency to fray. So what I'm going to do is look around for the torch and then see how that works. I don't think I've ever used a torch before. Like I said, he's gone. But we're going to see what we can do. Aha! Walked right in, and there it is. Okay, so this must be what he's talking about, that he put this new nozzle on for me. And I can't remember if he saw somebody had something like that, or if this might be the same thing we got Nick for Christmas. And then when we got one for Nick, Warren's like, wow, I've always wanted one of those too. So we got a second one. All right, so let's go. I feel like it might be too windy today to even make this work. When it comes to flower gardening, or at least growing annuals in pots, I do want to give you guys a recommendation. This is one white petunia. It is a wave petunia, and it was tiny. I mean, it just came in a small, maybe 3-inch pot. There was probably about 3 little sections of green leaves coming off of it, and it's already this enormous. It is in Miracle-Gro potting soil, and I have been using Tiger Bloom and keeping it well watered and out of the wind where it is. So those things all, are good for flowering annuals. But yeah, now let me take you over and show you. These petunias here were about the same size, maybe a smidge smaller, but these are not the wave petunias that kind of like grow out and start getting trailing. This is more of like a little bush petunia. It's going to grow taller this summer, but it doesn't really ever do that trailing, and I seem to forget that from year to year, but if you do want a pot to fill out really fast, wave petunias is the way to go. I do wish that I would have gotten more of those. Okay, so I came back down here with my tape measure and the you know, the little propane tank. I tried it. I know how it works. Super easy. Oh my gosh. And then Warren showed up and he got yet a third kind of stakes. These are not necessarily what we were looking for, but he said every place was out. And it's starting to rain now again. But I was just going to try to get these stakes in, and also he said, don't ask how much these cost. I was like, okay. He then told me that I was worth it though, so I don't know. I don't know what that means, if they were a lot or not much. Okay, so I'm going to try to get these in. They're way longer than the other stakes, so let's see how this works. Okay, so these are working great. It's really starting to rain now, so I'm gonna put the camera away. I'm gonna stay out here though for a little bit and try to get this weed guard fabric down, because if the wind starts to catch it even just a little bit, it does want to pull it out because it's super windy out here. Okay, so far the only budget thing involved in this weed cover is this little piece of Dollar Tree chalk. It was 3 in a pack for $1, but it sure is coming in handy, because what I did, I have to get back down here, for the corn is I measured out my rows. I'm doing everything 3 feet apart just to keep it very, very uniform this year, being that, you know, I'm using this fabric, or the, you know, this ground cover, and I really have nothing else for you, just that. I'm keeping it uniform this year. Okay, so what I did, 3 feet apart, measured out my rows, 8 inches apart for the corn. That's what it said on the back of the bag. It said to do at least 4 rows. We like to keep our corn usually in kind of like a little square or something. So this is actually going to be almost 150 seed of corn. And what I did then is I just went through with the little torch and I torched a hole where each seed is going to go. I did the first row, then I decided that I would measure off of that and mark all the other holes. And let me tell you, this is the most precise garden that I will ever have, I think. I am more of a eyeball it, get it in the ground kind of girl. But this year, it definitely has me thinking. Okay, I got 1 row of corn planted, but I really needed to come in the house and get going on supper. It's 10 after 5, and I know that everybody's going to want to have some supper pretty soon. So what I have going here is I have 2 pouches of onion soup mix in here. What I'm making is onion soup mix roasted potatoes. So in this bowl here, I have the 2 packets of the onion soup mix, a few cranks of black pepper, an extra teaspoon of garlic powder, and then 4 tablespoons of olive oil, just regular, you know, extra virgin olive oil. I think you could use butter. You could probably use really any kind of oil you want. Then I have some potatoes. I have some red potatoes as well as some russets. I'm going to just chop these all up into 1 inch cubes. put them back in here and then pop them in the oven. I just sprayed my pans and poured out all of the potato mixture onto these 2 pans. I didn't want to crowd them at all. If you've ever been disappointed with your like roasted potatoes or roasted vegetable, like they're more mushy rather than having kind of like that crisp edging, it's probably because they were crowded on the pan. If they get too crowded, they almost just kind of like steam cook rather than actually roast. I'm also using my convection option. If you don't have that, not a big deal, but that's what I like to do. And the third tip, I guess, would be to use dark pans. Whenever I'm trying to roast or to brown vegetables like this, I like to use dark pans. I just think it works better than the you know, real shiny silvery ones. So I'm going to put these in the oven. Like the original recipe that I had followed from, you know, I don't know, years and years ago, I think it said like 35 minutes. I've never found 35 minutes to be enough. Maybe I cut my potatoes a little larger than, you know, what they were intending, but usually I have to go about 45 minutes. So tonight we're going to have, with our roasted potatoes, some good old Johnsonville brats. I opened up a beer. Don't tell anyone, but I took a couple drinks. And then I'm going to put the rest of it in here. Also going to put some water in here, and then I'm going to let these simmer on the stove basically until they're somewhat cooked through, and then we're just going to grill these up until they're nice and brown. Okay, so the potatoes are completely done. Ooh, look at that, it's fogging up. And I have 11 minutes, so what I'm going to do is just turn everything off. And then I'm just going to let them stay in there and until it's time for supper. We got some broccoli going here. Just going to steam that up, and then Warren's grilling the brats and dogs. How you doing, Joe?
Good.
You writing your name in cursive?
Yep.
Oh, did you see what he was doing? He was going like this, like he was writing in cursive.
Alright, ketchup's on the table.